What really can you say? In such an unspeakable horror, such an unspeakable tragedy, there's no words of chachma, there's no words of sage counsel, there's very few words of nechama, some kind of consolation that you can really offer. What I think we can take away from this is the tremendous sense of achdus, the unity of Klal Yisrael. I never heard of the Sassoon family, at least these particular people. Sassoon is a well-known name in the Sephardic community. I did not know these individuals, never met them in my life. But when I first started hearing about this Motzei Shabbos on the news, it was like a personal tragedy. And I think each one of us felt that way. Whether we were here where I live in Queens, certainly those in Brooklyn, events were canceled all over New York because people felt this was a personal loss. Naturally, in Israel, this spilled into the streets of Israel. People came who didn't know these people. My own sister, who lives in Neve Eliza, was amongst thousands that came to this levaya. This shows the greatness of Am Yisrael, that we are all in this together. We also must be careful not to say things and try to justify and rationalize. It's human to want to try to make sense of this unspeakable tragedy. Really what this is a holocaust of one family. It's a personal holocaust. We cannot explain the Holocaust, and people who try to only make the situation all that more aggravating. We know through the Chazal that sometimes we just have to accept these things. The Chazal tell us, and the Medrash is known, the Gemara is known, we read about Yom Kippur, when the Malachim and Shemayim wanted to know what's going on here. This is the way you treat Rabbi Akiva, that he has his skin removed from his face. The Asara Harugei Malchios, all the 10 martyrs that died, one was a greater tzaddik than the next. And how is it they're being burnt at the stake in such a torturous way? And to which Hashem says, Shtok Gezerah Himelafanai, this is the way it is. Aaron HaKohen and his wife Miriam suffered a terrible, tragic loss. On the day they should have been so full of joy at the consecration of the Mishkan, they see their 2 beloved sons, Nadav and Avihu, be consumed in a fire from heaven itself. And there was not much that they could really say. It was Vayidom Aharon. And we have to be willing to accept that we just don't know why Hashem does the things that he does. When people come out and say it's for this reason or that reason, it's because of tznius, or it's because we have to have achdus, or because we have to be greater in some mitzvah or another, or it's because we're too much involved in some ideology that we shouldn't be involved. Who are we to know what's really going on? We have to accept that God did this for his own purpose. And I think this was the message that was being given by the Almon, by Mr. Sassoon himself. Nobody can know how can he go on for another minute in his life. And yet the message that rang out from him at the Levaya, both here in Brooklyn and in Israel, in Yerushalayim, was that we have to continue having a faith in Hashem, and he does what he does for a reason. Also want to make note, many people may not be aware of it, the Prime Minister of Israel, he's not exactly some world-renowned Rosh Yeshiva, but he sent a beautiful note to Mr. Sassoon, which I have a copy of. Maybe some of you have seen it. It's been going around the internet a bit. And that's also because he is a leader of the Jewish people, and that's the way we Jewish people are. A loss for one is a loss for all. So this has been a Holocaust. There's 6 million people die in a Holocaust. Sometimes a Holocaust is one little baby. It's a personal Holocaust. 7 little precious children died here. This was a Holocaust of 7 precious children. V'al ken yifku kol beis Yisrael es hasrefa asher saraf es Hashem. We all feel the fire that consumed these children. We feel it like it was in our own home. So I just hope that there's anything that we get out of this. Of course, we have to better our ways. We always have to improve in tzedakah. We always have to improve in our family life. We always have to improve in bein adam l'chavero. Jews always need to improve. There's no question about it. Let's also be inspired by the words of Mr. Sassoon himself, that we just have to accept Hashem did this. He's our beloved God. He's the Shomer Yisrael after all. He will continue to watch over Klal Yisrael, and we will accept this and move on. That is the greatest credit that we can say of Klal Yisrael. These things happen to us. We love each other like brothers and sisters, like mothers and fathers to our own children. And now we have to move on with our life, and hopefully somehow we can all become better Jews because of this. One of the most difficult issues that we have to deal with in grappling with this is, what do we tell our own children, little innocent kids? And my wife, who's a teacher in Beis Yaakov here in Queens, she's a first grade teacher. In the first grade, this didn't come up so often, but already some kids, more perceptive kids in the first grade and the second grade, begin to question what happened here. My wife reads it as a teacher. She feels that really what the children are asking is, how come mommy didn't protect us? How come their mommy didn't protect us? How come they weren't safe in their own mommy's house? These are very, very difficult issues to grapple with. The question that every child is probably asking, and every adult is asking, but we have to express ourselves to the children. How could God let this happen? How come Hashem let this happen? We say that Hashem is Hine Lo Yonah V'Lo Yishon Shomer Yisrael. God's supposed to protect us. What happened here? Why didn't he protect these little girls and little boys? Very, very difficult questions. And the only way we can honestly deal with this is that, yes, Hashem always does protect us, but sometimes we just Hashem does things to us which we'll never understand. Sometimes, just like a daddy will patch a child because the child has to learn a lesson, or the mommy will patch a child because the child has to learn a lesson, and the child's wondering, why did mommy patch me? Why did daddy patch me? Or why did I get spanked? Why did I get punished? Why was I deprived of my allowance? It's not fair. But parents know better, and it's all for the ultimate good of the child. And so Hashem, we don't know why he patched us now. We don't know why he gave us such a difficult clap that we was just served right now. We don't know why he took away these precious children. We have to explain to our kids, but Hashem is a loving God. He has his reasons, and we just have to accept that. Just like sometimes mommy and daddy or Imma and Abba do things that we don't understand, but that really they love us. The same thing is, sometimes we just have to accept Hashem does things. And sometimes Hashem is really very hard on us. But we know that really he does love us. He's done sometimes very difficult things to the Jewish people over all the years. But look, all the suffering we had over all these years. Look where we are now. Jews are back in Eretz Yisrael like Hashem promised to the Nevi'im thousands of years ago. So Hashem does love us. Sometimes he gives us a little patch, but he loves us and things will be good. I want to just add one beautiful thought that I once heard from my Rosh Yeshiva of Goldvik, Rosh Yeshiva Kerem Yavna, when I was a Talmud there. It's about 40 years ago already. And he pointed to the story that we have in the Gemara in Chagiga. The Gemara tells us of Rabbi Elisha ben Avuya, who later became referred to the Gemara only as Acher, sometimes Acherim, but he became an apikoros. He became a heretic. He was actually a Rebbe of Rabbi Meir. The two of them were walking down a street one time on a road, and they see that a man asked his little young boy to go up to a tree, climb up a ladder, and he wanted to get little chicks that were in a nest, that were nesting, and he wanted one of those chicks. So the boy listens to his father, goes up the ladder, chases away the mother bird that was there. In other words, he was Mekayim. He fulfilled the mitzvah of Shiluach HaKain, which is you chase away the mother bird before you take its chicks from under it, and to which the Torah promises us, V'harachta yamim, you'll have long days on earth. And at the same time, he upheld the mitzvah of Kibbud Av. He listened to his father, did what his father told him. On the way down, this boy, one of the rungs of the ladders gives way. The boy falls to the ground, and he dies on the spot. So Rabbi Elisha ben Avuya said, what's going on here? This boy was being Mekayim, two of the mitzvahs in the Torah, Kibbud Av, listening to his father, and Shiluach HaKain, chasing away the mother bird. Both mitzvahs the Torah tells us you're going to have long, lengthy days. And then the kid dies on the spot. I had enough. And from that led him to have a complete disbelief in God. Rav Meir turned and said, I'm sorry, you're making a mistake. Yes, the Torah says, V'harachta yamim, but we have to come to the conclusion that the Torah means Yom Shekulo Aruch, that it doesn't mean you're going to have long days, but you're going to live in a life that's very, very lengthy. The life, each day will be lengthy. What is that? The world to come, Olam Haba, where each day is an eternity. So Rabbi Goldvich commented on this Gemara, and he said, you know, we can't really blame Elisha ben Avuya. The question was an excellent, pointed question. He sees this boy going up. He's Mekayim 2 mitzvot, both promise long days, and he dies. It's in defiance of what the Torah says, what the Torah promises. So what do we have against Elisha ben Avuya? The Chachamim treated him with disdain later. And Rabbi Meir, so he gave an answer in the pasuk. What was going on between these two? What was the difference between the two? So Rabbi Goldvich explained that when Rabbi Elisha ben Avuya had all his problems in Emunah and a faith beforehand. So therefore, when anything came to challenge his faith, like he saw this boy going up to the tree and then collapsing, that's it. I'm out of here. I can't believe anymore. Rabbi Meir was so strong in his faith and so strong in his Emunah that when he saw something like this happen, he just was forced to say, well, I guess I misunderstood the pasuk. This pasuk does not mean long days on this earth. The pasuk means long days of eternity in Olam Haba. And that's what we have to take away here as well, that we have to go with an approach of strong emunah. It's very difficult, but we have to go with an approach of a strong emunah. We're being very challenged by Hashem, as we have been over the last year or so. It's so many horrible tragedies that haven't befallen us. But we have to go with a sense of strength of an emunah and our belief in God and knowing that He's the God that has protected us over all the years as a nation, and will continue to do that.